Hello, and welcome to the Science Fiction and Fantasy Marketing Podcast, the show where we help you establish your author brand, increase the size of your audience, and sell more books. I'm Joe Lalo, and I'm here with Jeffrey Poole and Lindsay Broker. Today, our guest is Carolynn Gockel. Carolynn is an urban fantasy and sci-fi author who previously appeared on the show back in episode 19, where we talked about starting with fan fiction, perma-free, and getting good sponsorship sites, and Tumblr. She's been quite busy in the last year with her marketing efforts, so we asked her to come on and update us on what's been working and what hasn't. So welcome back to the show.
Hi, nice to be here.
I'm going to toast to Lindsay now for the usual intro stuff, and then we'll get on with the questions.
All right, thanks for coming on, Carolyn. For those who haven't gotten through our archives and don't have show 19 memorized, shame on them. Do you want to give us a brief summary of your flagship series?
My flagship series is I Bring the Fire. It is about Loki, the Norse god of mischief, chaos, and lies, and it's complete. I will probably come back to it early next year. I write about things that I hate and I try to fix them. So I wrote about Loki because I wanted to redeem chaos. Not to make it good, but to redeem the idea of chaos.
Cool, and how many books did you end up having in that series when it finished?
There are 6 novel-length books. There's a novella and 3 short stories now.
All right, and for those who haven't checked you out there on Amazon, I should just tell our readers that they sell very well. You've got hundreds of reviews, and I assume you're making some pretty good money these days. You don't have to spill the beans, but do you think you'll be tempted? You said you might come back to it next year to, this was when I finished my series, and I wasn't sure what the next thing was going to be that was actually going to make any money. I ended up doing a couple more, like one the next year, one the next year. You think you'll do anything like that?
Well, I've had several stories in mind that are they're standalone stories. I have an idea. So in my series, Loki leaves Amy, the heroine, for a while, and he goes off and does his own thing. I don't make the reader wade through that time. It passes over the course between the 2 books. And I had an idea for something that might have happened in that time period, and I thought it would be really interesting to explore it. I also would like to write about some of the secondary characters in the books. So there may or may not be Loki in some of those stories. And so I actually had two story ideas in mind. And my fans really want me to write like a story that takes place between. So I have Ragnarok, which is the last in the series, the last. But then I wrote a little short story called The Firebringers, and some people would like to see some of the time in between. And I have like a loose idea for it, but it's not really clear yet. So, and if I go away from the series for so long, I wonder if it might be better to come back, like in a way so that it could stand alone by itself, so anybody could enter it, but make it so that people would be like, oh, I really want to see how all of this happened, how this stuff happened. So, I'll think about it. I'm sure something will come to me eventually.
Yeah, I always think it's a great idea if you can have multiple entry points into a series so you can have different book ones or, that you're advertising. I think it's a great idea. I never managed to do it, but in theory. Yeah. So why don't you tell us what you've been doing this last year? You've delved into some science fiction, right?
Yes, I have. And some of my friends who released into science fiction, like their books really took off. Mine is just hanging out in the middle of the list. I did not check it today, but it's been hanging out around, the 60,000 rank. So it's making some money, but it's not. I don't think I've broken even on it. I'm not really worried though, because I'm getting some great reviews, and some people are contacting me and going, I just read your book, and wow, it was really good. I'm really looking forward to the next one. So I'm pretty. And to be honest, like I Bring the Fire didn't take off right away either. It actually didn't do as well as Archangel Down is doing. And I know how to turn a book that's kind of slow, that's got slow sales. I know how to turn it around now, and I have a plan. I plan to put it in a box set with other sci-fi sci-fi romance stories. And Lindsay, I know I've talked about you with about that, and I plan to do that as soon as book 2 is out. And I think like what you said about having multiple entry points is really important, because one of the things I've done this year is I've been in box sets, and it's not that I have like different stories that are different entry points, but I have I'm actually in 3 box sets right now, and those have each has its own sort of focus. One sort of a general urban fantasy box set, another's focused on myths and mythology, and the other one is focused more on like demons and Djinn, if I'm saying it right. And so there's like these 3 entry points for people to find my work, and those have worked really well, because you can't advertise the same book all the time, because you have to wait for Free Booksy and BookBub and all those other sites to get new subscribers, and obviously you can't count on something like BookBub to pick you up all the time. So I just promote those box sets on on a cycle, and that has actually kept my income really steady.
Awesome, and yeah, I totally hear you. I'm like so excited now that I have 2 big series so I can kind of alternate, and I can't wait to have like 4 series. I know people who just have 1 book are like, what are these nutcases talking about? But once you've been doing this for a while, the books start to accumulate and add up. And but yeah, we want to ask you a lot more about what you've been doing for marketing and stuff, and I'm going to pass you to the guys to start things off, and I'll have some questions for you later.
Okay.
Yep. Well, before we went on the air, we were talking a little bit about how you are working with a traditional audiobook publisher for one of your series. You want to maybe tell us how that came about?
I have no idea how it came about. They contacted me out of the blue and said, "Hey, do you own the rights?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And they offered to pay me an advance, and to also they also offered me a portion of royalties. And I guess that some audio publishers have not been paying royalties. Have you heard about that? Because some of my friends have had that offer come to them. But because they were going to pay royalties, even though they were small, I'm just like, you know what? I'm taking it, because I'm not really a full-time anything because of the kids situation. So I just could not imagine actually producing an audiobook by myself. And I know people who've done it, and I've done quite well. And I also know people who've done it, people who sell lots more books and ebooks than me, who are a lot more famous, who have great recognition. And they've told me that they're really in debt. I mean, not more than they make, because they're making a lot in ebooks, but they're still, like, the audiobooks haven't paid for themselves yet. So I was really glad to take the deal. I wouldn't have taken it if I couldn't get royalties. But since it's providing royalties, I decided to take it.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience also with Tantor. I'd not heard about anybody not being offered royalties, and that sounds like a really awful offer. Like, I've had people tell me that I should have held out for a larger advance, let alone taking only an advance and no royalties. So certainly don't take the non-royalty deal if someone offers you that.
Yeah, I'm not in this situation, so I know some people who have told me that they're looking into that, taking the advance just because they can't see doing it themselves. I guess if it's a big advance, I don't know.
Yeah. It is a huge upfront cost to do an audiobook if you're looking for a really well-established talent to do the voice work. Like, I've done it, but I'm actually in the process of doing the next book that Tantor did and using the same voice talent, so I know how much they were spending on that person, and it's not insignificant. So I can certainly see taking even a small advance on of traditional production, but again, you want at least some royalties, I think. Otherwise, you've basically sold your rights, and that worries me.
Yeah.
All right, so another thing I want to talk about is another thing we have in common, actually, is you redesigned your covers for your books. What inspired that, and how did you go about it?
Well, I had enough money to do it. I really I had my fourth BookBub, and it went really well. And so I took the money the extra money, and I just plowed it all into covers. And it, it hasn't changed my life. I can't tell you that it hasn't. And I think it's really important for people to know that before I changed my covers, that that I was already making a steady income, about, and I'll give numbers, between 4 and 5 a month. So so I think that they have increased. I think that they have like helped my series, have helped my income. But I've had so many other things that have happened since then that I'm not quite sure. Another box set, like speaking about box sets, I was in a short story anthology. I still am. It's called Nightshade, and it's with all these wonderful authors. Annie Billette is in it, as is S.M. Marine and Christine Pope, and a whole bunch of other amazing authors, Deborah Dunbar, and we sold a whole hell of a lot of these books. And it was sort of a prequel to I Bring the Fire, and I picked up a lot of fans. So, I mean, that really helped. That really helped me. And then even though Archangel Down hasn't been a huge seller, I have definitely reached a new audience, and I think some of them have come back and picked up I Bring the Fire and started reading it. So I don't know how much of it is new covers and how much of it is all just other new things that I've done.
Yeah, that's one of the tricky things about marketing is unless you're using a link for any of some kind, then it's very hard to isolate what's actually getting the improvement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's just so many ways they can come in. I don't even know how you can measure that. Like, I know how you can measure a website to see how, with Google Analytics, but I can't even imagine that with box sets. And yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
How you do it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's sort of embarrassing actually how often I'll be going through some of my sales figures and I'll see an uptick on a certain day, like an unusually large one, and then spend a half hour trying to figure out why that happened.
Yeah. I had a 500 extra downloads the other day of one of the box sets, and I'm still going. I still don't know where they came from.
It's incredibly frustrating. It's like a very large book club had decided that your book was a month and nobody told you.
Yeah.
All right, so you started a new series, and it's a sci-fi series. You had said, well, originally I was going to ask if you were going to plan on juggling the two series back and forth, but you said that you had more or less wrapped up your primary series, your initial series.
Yeah, I plan to I plan to finish Archangel Down, and then the Archangel Project series. It's only a trilogy, and I expect it will be done by the fall. And then I'll probably come back and write a little bit for I Bring the Fire. And then I have an idea for like another trilogy that would take place in the Archangel Project universe, but it would be sort of a standalone that you could jump right in without ever having to have read the Archangel Project.
That's useful. The multiple entry points and all that. You figure, like, I guess, how far ahead are you planning this stuff? Do you think you're going to dance back and forth between them, or you just sort of have the next couple of releases planned out?
Well, you never know. I mean, I never planned on writing In the Balance, but it's there. I just finished the rough draft, and I'm almost done with the edits for a short story, and it's called Carl Sagan's Hunt for Intelligent Life in the Universe. And the tagline is, sometimes intelligent life is right in front of your whiskers. And it's a short story. It's a standalone short story that takes 15,000 words, and it takes place in before Archangel Down. And it's been getting great reviews from my betas, who I like. Basically, it was a complete like. Actually, Audrey Faye, who has another name, who I don't know if she's like upfront about it, but big author, and new to sci-fi too. Deborah Dunbar is jumping into sci-fi. I think that S.M. Marine is jumping into. A lot of these big authors are going into sci-fi, and they asked me to be in it, and I'm like, oh damn, I don't have a story. And I was just like complaining to my husband one at the dinner table, and all of a sudden like, oh my god, I have to write this. I have the perfect idea. And I mean, that was never. I never planned on it. I never planned on writing Atomic, which is the prequel to I Bring the Fire, which I really like it. It's kind of my fans like it. It's some of my non-fans are like, you had to combine history and science and mythology and fantasy, and what the hell are you doing? And some of my fans are like, yeah, this is everything we love. So I can't please everyone, but I really liked it. So you don't plan these things, they just happen. And yeah, and I have to say that if you're going to write a short story, the publishing it in an anthology is awesome, because you get everybody's combined marketing power. And I made more. Anthology isn't very long. The one with Nightshade, and it's a length of a full book, but I've made more on it than I have ever made on any short story I've ever published. It was it's a fantastic experience, and just working with these wonderful people was great.
Yeah, that's sort of a lesson that we've learned over and over again, is that short stories really work well in anthologies, and really collections in general are a great way to sell what are otherwise kind of a tricky thing to market.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, that wraps up my questions. So I'm going to toss you off to Jeff now for a few more.
Alrighty, all right, Carol. You've clearly been busy since the last time we were all together. With regards to marketing, I can imagine you've experimented with several services. I've heard you mention BookBub, Booksy, that sort of thing. Have there been any standouts? I mean, has anything worked better than you thought, or worse than you thought?
Okay, so there's a couple sites that there's BookBub, but everybody knows about it. E-Reader News Today. I don't get huge downloads from that service, but damn, the sell-through is awesome. I find that Book Barbarian, if you write sci-fi and fantasy, holy cow, they're awesome. Book Barbarian is like a new leader. And then Robin Reed's is fantastic. Ebook Butterfly is also stellar. So there's minibooks.net. They had a service where they were posting the books on their site for a week, and they temporarily halted that service because they were hosting the files on their site, but then for whatever reason they decided that they were just going to point to the files at Amazon, Kobo, blah, blah, blah. And they're working on the technical details for that, but that was great. I paid $25, and I think I had 2,000 downloads, and my new cover definitely helped because they had done it in the fall or the summer, and I got like 1,000, and then they did it again, and I had like 2,000. And I also, all the links in that, because I didn't know who would be picking it up, they all linked to my website, and it was my Tumblr site, and then all those links on Tumblr are they all have affiliate codes, and so I watched my affiliate money go, ooh, and I was like, yes. Yeah, so I mean, like, I think people think maybe if they put their books out there in the wild that they won't be a very good, they won't lead to the next in the series, but that was absolutely untrue. It was a great experience.
Yeah, I've learned that even if they don't have the links in the back matter, or you can't find the links to the other one, if you really like the book and the author, a couple of Google searches and you can find them, and you can find out what the next book is yourself. So that's not too terribly bad. But have you tried any that you thought, you know what, it just isn't worth my time, or I don't plan on doing it again in the future?
I will not speak publicly of those because I live in a glass house.
Enough said. Roger that. Okay. All right. Authors of multiple genres have said that when tired with one series, creating a new, different series can, help get the creative juices flowing. Now, you mentioned you've already wrapped up your primary fantasy series, but obviously you're not done with fantasy. I mean, do you feel that by being able to write in another genre will help get the the juices flowing for back to the fantasy, because I'm doing something similar with mystery. I got tired of fantasy a little bit, started out a mystery one, and it's been a lot of fun. And in doing so, I've got a lot of ideas I can go back to the fantasy with. So just wondering if that might be the case with you too.
Um, I I don't know if that's true. I always write because I always have a reason for something I write, and I, if I wasn't an author, I would probably be a nasty internet troll because because there's just so
Gotta
many
love honesty here.
and there's so many things in the world that make me angry, and when I like to like I put a lot of ideas in my fiction, but I try to put it in a way that's more fun than reading like a trollish screed in the comments section. So, um, yeah, somebody said something that pissed me off, and so I'm like, I'm gonna write a trilogy about this because I'm mad. I mean, the whole Loki series was just because I get tired of like always seeing evil as chaos. Chaos is always evil. I mean, you could go back and say, well, Satan wasn't really evil at the beginning. I mean, that was something that came about much like Second Temple period, and I think I've already said that. So I've in my previous interview. So I just wanted to like kind of set the record straight and like explore chaos in like a fun way. And I can't tell you what I'm exploring with Archangel Down. I mean, there's definitely things about what it means to be human and what it means to be with Carl Sagan, what it means to be like an intelligent being. To be considered a truly you have. Is it how much you think? Is it how much you feel? Is it what you can think about? The Archangel Project has a really definite message, and I can't give it away right now.
That's okay. We won't force you to. But next question, or my final question I have for you is: now that since this past year for you has been really busy, have you learned anything this year that you wish you would have known when you first started out as a writer? Like what services that you're like, oh my God, I wish I would have known about this, a long time ago.
No, I'm not like kicking myself over anything. People will kick you up, will kick you everywhere. I'm not going to kick myself. I can't say that I'm really sad about my original covers. I pulled in a lot of literary fiction people into liking urban fantasy. You're welcome. I'm not sad that I'm not sad that I didn't risk a whole lot of money when I wasn't sure if it was going to work. No, not really. Everything's paid. I've been paying every single piece. I invested $15 at the start, and everything else I've built up on that. And I'm really glad that I took that bootstrap mentality.
Perfect. You can't ask for anything better. That's it for my questions. Let me hand you over to Lindsay. She's got some for you.
All right, I had to take my show notes here. I have to include your tagline there. If I wasn't an author, I'd probably be a nasty internet troll. I'm gonna put that in the show notes. All right, and I have to say, I wanted you to say that you got your new covers and sales doubled overnight, because I finally committed to redoing the covers of my Emperor's Edge series. I'm going to the same guy that did Warrior Mage for me, and he's hiring models and designing costumes and everything, so it's going to be quite the investment. So I am definitely hoping. If nothing else, I found that the books that I have really cool covers for are easier to get the BookBub ads for. It's like, oh yeah, we'll take that, no problem. Whereas
yeah, I applied for I Bring the Fire when it ran up, like the first book after I got the new covers, and they were like, nope, sorry. I think they did take the box set. Like it was the quickest response I've ever gotten. It was like the morning after the evening, like right away. They're like, yes, here's your date, and I had to ask for a date in the middle of the week because I'd like to try and get to the USA Today list, or at least in the top 100 in Amazon. So they gave me everything I wanted. They put me on Thursday, which will give me until which, you know, the sales until Saturday I'll have, you know, when I'm still on their site. So I'm really hopeful.
Cool. When does that run?
It's the 28th, and I asked for like time to set up other ads, and they gave it to me. They gave me everything I wanted. So yeah, it's one of those things where I've heard that it doesn't. It's something that shouldn't matter, but I have heard people say that when you get those letters, or you can say you're a best-selling author, that it really actually does help. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I've only done it once on my, I've done it a couple times in multi-author box sets, but then it was a Dragon Blood box set last year made the list with BookBub. So maybe it'll work for you too, and it sounds great.
Did you stack a lot of ads, or?
I didn't. It was just on BookBub. It's outsold any other BookBub I've ever had, and it was the first time they ran it, and it was a box set, so I just think those things were working for it, and maybe Dragon stuff was more appeal than my Emperor's Edge, but so I think the first time you get it is definitely your best odds. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
I did want to ask you a couple more questions about your box sets. It sounds like they're doing really well for you. I kind of checked on Amazon, and then it looked like one was 99 cents, one was perma-free, and maybe it was the anthology that was $2.99. Could you kind of talk about like the differences in the pricing there, and kind of what's working real well for you?
Okay, so the anthology is now $2.99, and what we found out is that BookBub will take anthologies as long as, I think that everything in the anthology has to be, it's under a certain length. I won't say it here because I'm not looking at the number and I don't want to misquote. You can go to BookBub's site and they'll tell you. And what we released it at 99 cents. It shot up into the top 100 on Amazon, basically just with our promotion. And we're going to apply for a book. BookBub, you have to have it at $2.99 for like 3 months, and then get the 99-cent price. So we're going to try for a BookBub in a couple weeks, and I don't know if we'll get it. And if we don't, I'm not sure. We haven't decided what we'll do. But we really like the BookBub, and we really like the publicity to, hopefully, not necessarily to get on the bestseller list, but just because a lot of us got new fans from that anthology. So that is the goal with that, and that's why it's at $2.99. It was at 99 cents for a long period of time, though. I think like 2 weeks when it was first released, and it made a lot of money. I was surprised by how much money I got. I didn't get a lot of money from it, but considering there's 18 authors, I think 17 or 18 authors, it was a lot. And it was for 99 cents. So that's why that is priced at $2.99. Now, like the 99-cent box set, Demons and Djinn, is you can't get a BookBub with it because they're novel-length stories. They're all entry level. They're all intro to the series. The first 6 in the set are paid books, and then the last are perma-free books. Now, I can tell you the advantage of a 99-cent box set, and that is basically if you're the person who's organizing it, you have to pay for you have to deal with all the 1099s, and you have to pay everyone, and that is a pain in the ass. But on the good side, all of your promotional efforts are paid for because you pay yourself. You pay for the promotion, you pay for the cover first before you pay out. And actually, I was surprised because I'd done a free box set before, and I thought the bad thing about the box set is that you really don't get the exposure that you get with free. Free is like there's so many more sites to advertise free, and on a good day, like the Gods and Mortals box set, which is all free, it brings in, without advertising, like about 400 downloads just on Amazon, and so that is just so much. There's so many eyeballs that are potentially reaching your work. I don't think everybody finishes reading it. I think people skim through it, but I mean, yeah, I think a free box set is actually a better deal because it's less. It's a better deal if you know the people in the set and people are willing to pay you to promote it because I'm in another box set, and I've had trouble getting people to pay for like $10 a month or whatever. And there's one I get uncomfortable talking about it, but I wound up covering a lot of costs for people, and it's very frustrating. And it's a lot of, I do a lot of work for the promotional aspect of it, and it's worthwhile, and it's stuff that I can do like when my kids are running around my feet. But it's also, when you're like covering the cost of other people, it's kind of a bummer. But it's probably worth it. It's probably worth it for me to eat a little bit of it, so I do. Oh, I can tell you something about a 99-cent box set. You know how Amazon has that 3.5 megabytes rule?
Yes.
Okay. Listen, if you want to go wide with a box set, break that rule. Okay? Put it out on Kobo and iBooks and whatever at 99 cents. Amazon will price match you. You have to set your price at $1.99, and then they'll price match you, and you'll get paid 70%, or you'll get the 70% because effectively what happens is that they pay you as though your box set was $1.99. So if I were you and I was going to make a 99-cent box set that I wanted to spread all over the world, I would make it above 3.5 megabytes, and even if it meant like stuff in the back with perma-free books. And you know what? People like me who have a perma-free, I do have some perma-free people in the set, and I'm actually not paying them, but the deal is they don't have to pay anything. It's like, you don't have to do anything, we'll do it all for you, and hey, if somebody wanted to do that to me, I'd be like, hey, take my book, go ahead, advertise it for me, and I don't need any, I'm not going to make money on a perma-free anyway, so I don't care. There is another type of box set that I really want to do, and I would like to do it for sci-fi romances. I'd like to do a Kindle Unlimited box set. I want to get it done by June because I think that they're going to change Kindle Unlimited. I think there's going to be a Kindle Unlimited 3 because people are making so much money with these Kindle Unlimited box sets right now. And I just can't imagine that Kindle they're gonna like set a floor or something, or a ceiling for the payout, because yeah, people are making tons of money on the Kindle Unlimited box sets right now. So I want to get in before, because if you get in June, you figure they'll change it in August, but you'll still have caught a little bit of that wave.
All right. That's my first time hearing about that. Now you've got me hoping you'll invite me. Can you mute your?
Oh my God! Yes, you're on the list.
All right. No, I can totally see why that would happen though, because I've even heard from just epic fantasy authors that have got like the doorstopper, 600 or 800 page novels, that they're making more from Kindle Unlimited page reads than they are from, even if they're selling the book at like $4.99, it ends up being more per book if somebody reads it all the way through to the end. So.
Yeah, Archangel Down is definitely like that. It's $3.99, but I think Kindle has that weird page counting thing because it's only about 300 pages when I put it in paperback, which I still haven't uploaded yet. But it was only about 300 pages, but Kindle's counting it as 630. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I think they count it as Kindle pages, like they would show up on your e-reader.
Oh.
At the average font or something, rather than paperback pages. I'm not complaining. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about it, no.
Yeah, are you in Kindle Unlimited with your urban fantasy series right now,
no,
or?
I'm not. My plan is to have a series in and have a series out from here until. And from here on out, I would think, unless something very different happens. I have a lot of people who read my urban fantasy set who are in Kindle Unlimited, so I don't think that I've priced it very reasonably, so I don't think that is such a big deterrent. I have very competitive pricing with the perma-free, and then right now my second in the box set. My second is 99 cents, and I don't know if that'll stay, but for now it is. And so. Yeah, I just know that so many people, like with Kindle Unlimited, it changes so much, and I'd like to have one out, and just always.
Yeah, I've been tempted. I have my pen name stuff in there right now, and I have since they changed it to be page reads. And
Yeah.
it definitely offers some opportunities, but I've been having really great years at Barnes and Noble and Kobo, so I wouldn't want to give up that income necessarily on my regular stuff. And I have readers from all over now, so it
Yeah.
hasn't been too tempting. So it sounds like you're putting together these box sets yourself. Is that the case for the at least two of them, or?
Christine Pope is my partner in crime in most of these things, and we have put together 3 box sets, and we've helped out with, we help out with the anthologies. It's a lot of work. It's a whole hell of a lot of work, and it's really good to have somebody else who you really trust, who who will help carry the load with you.
That's awesome. We had her on the show back in the early days too. So I know she was in a box set with K.A. Poe, I think, and I think you were in that early one, the Perma-Free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just yeah. In fact, I think they credited you with doing the promotions, handling that stuff every month. It sounds like it was a really good lead-in, and that everybody like you're able to. I guess, do you have any tips for anybody that puts together a Perma-Free box set to be able to keep it in the top 100 or 200 and get all those downloads every day?
So you just have, first of all, that I think that the Paranormal 13 was like the first multi-author free box set, and it's still out there. And it's not in the top 100 anymore, but it stayed in the top 100 for a really long time. And I think that I think that a lot of people just think that they'll just throw it out there and it'll be fine, and that's all they need to do. You have to actively promote it, like everything else. You have to actively promote it. You have to go out and, like I spend we spend about $100 a month, sometimes 200, between 100 and 200 promoting our box sets, and you have to, you have to like organize it, and you have to collect the money, and then you have to organize the actual promos themselves. And Christine actually did some Facebook ads for a while for the Paranormal 13, and yeah, so you have to work at it. Like it's just one more thing. It's just a way to, I actually I'm doing some Facebook ads right now for the 99-cent box set, and I've done Facebook ads for my first perma-free in series. And I usually target an author, right? So I target an ad to an individual author, and there's some authors who my perma-free, it just got no response. And then I've gone and I've advertised Demons in Dijon, and it's gotten great response. So it's just another way to target different segments of the market.
All right, and is the Demons one, is that the 99-cent box set?
Yes, it is 99 cents.
Okay, are you finding with Facebook ads, we had Mark Dawson on the show, and I know a lot of people are experimenting with his kind of style there. Are you finding that you're able to get the cost per click down enough for it to be worth it, or how are things going there?
Okay, so first of all, you have to understand that for me, worth it is for $10, 100 downloads. Yes, I am able to do pretty darn close to that. It took a while, but I figured out. I came up with. I have 1 or 2 ads that are really cheap, and knock on wood. Facebook isn't particularly reliable. I found that like during the holiday season, I had to turn them all off because you're bidding with all these other people, and there are you're not just other authors, but other companies. And everyone, you're bidding with everyone, and so the ads shot up in price. Sometimes they tripled. And from what I could hear, it probably will be worth it next Christmas when I can advertise like my audiobooks, and I'll have all my paperbacks done by then, I swear. And then so I'll be able to advertise things that have a higher margin. But right now, I was just advertising a free book, and it was not worth it to be paying 15 cents a click for a free book. That's ridiculous. You can't pay that. I found that Facebook ads, even though they are a little bit more expensive, sometimes that the conversion has been awesome. So, it's not really about how many. it's partially about how many downloads you get, and it's partially about how many people go from book 1 to book 2, and the conversion rate's been really high.
Right, and if you've got like a 6 or 8 book series and the rest of the books are full price, then you can maybe afford to spend a little more to initially get somebody into the series.
Yes, exactly. I would say that if you have 3 books in your series, I just wouldn't bother with it right now yet. I would wait. I was advertising a little bit with Archangel Down. Archangel Down was like one of the greatest things I learned about that was like it forced me to learn Facebook, and I have advertised it at full price at $3.99, and it did really help. Yeah, you can use Facebook to advertise a full price book, and maybe it's worth it. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's better if you have like a longer series, and then you get the sell through too.
Yeah, I haven't played around with it too much yet. I'm afraid it would become like another part-time job because you kind of have to check on your stuff almost every day to make sure they're not boosting up how much you're paying per click. And
Right. Like today I was like getting some new ads set up, and I didn't write today. I did some minor editing. So it can become kind of addictive too because it's like a game. I don't know, it's like being in Vegas. Except instead of how much money can I make, it's like how much money can I save if I tweak this? And I mean, you can get really good ads, like really good cost per clicks, and you find that little niche audience that adores you and your work, and it's awesome. But it can take a while. I probably almost spent the amount that Mark Dawson's course, like in experiments. I'm not sorry about that, but yeah, you know what? My advice would be, like, I got a book from the library, which helped a lot, and then because I'm so cheap when it comes to buying books. No, I buy lots of ebooks, but I don't like to buy hard books, hardback, paperback books. I got a book from the library. I would highly recommend like getting a book from the library on Facebook if you can't afford $300 to take the course. You can get nice books from your public library in the business section, and then go to K boards with specific questions, and that will really help.
Are those books specifically on Facebook advertising?
Oh God, yes. And they update them, and then you can almost anything that you hear about, you can find online. Some marketer is going to show you how to do it.
All right. One more question on the box sets. Are you finding that it's like the permafree is? Do you get enough people reading through to make it worth it, or do you feel like once they pay the 99 cents, they're more likely to buy more books, or are they about even?
I think it's actually about even. So. Yeah, the advantage for the 99-cent box set is that is that basically you don't have to pay anything like month to month, and that would be that's the really big advantage I think to a 99-cent box set. I think that if you had like a lot of novellas, that would be. I think that I'd like to write do a novella box set, a multi-author box set that's BookBub eligible, so a little bit longer than short stories, but not quite full length, and get it into BookBub, because then you could then I think especially if you have a standalone, I think like a standalone story, I think a box set is a great idea for it, whether it's in KU or maybe even not. I was thinking that what I would like to do at some point is have a box set that I release for like 2 weeks everywhere, pull it back, pop it into KU for 3 months, and then at the end of 3 months, apply for the BookBub everywhere, and then release it everywhere, and yes, that maybe hit the list, maybe not, but get all of that exposure everywhere else.
Yeah, I was actually in one with my pen name where I'm in it now, but this summer we launched it, it actually wasn't a very good fit for my story because I do like space opera romance, and it was kind of a treasure hunting adventure romance box set. But we all did the novellas like you were talking about, and We couldn't get it accepted in BookBub then. We got it just about everywhere else. We launched it at 99 cents. We sold enough to make the USA Today list. But then, like you were saying, we put it up to $3.99 for quite a while, and now we've managed to get a BookBub ad.
Yay!
And so they are taking the novella-length fiction, but you're right, they don't seem to want the full-length novel box sets from authors. And we had to change it to a 2D cover. I don't know if you had to do the same thing, but they didn't want the... For an anthology, supposedly, it has to be a flat cover. I don't know what the...
Yeah, we actually, for Nightshade, we actually have a flat cover because it's all short stories, and we didn't want anybody thinking that it was going to be a full length stories. And people still complain, even though it's like in the blurb, short stories, and people are like, these are not novels. I'm like, no.
Yeah, they're trained now to get 10 full-length novels for 99 cents, I guess.
Yeah.
But it did end up being a good deal because we all, at the beginning we pushed it with our lists the same way as you did, so you got a lot of sales right at the beginning. But then if you can have another 6 months later, get the BookBub ad, you can probably sell, several thousand more. So
Yes.
Good times. Everybody should do an anthology.
Yes, yes, especially, well, now I'm thinking, like, especially with KU anthologies, where you can make so much money, if you have, like, a standalone book that's not doing anything, that it could be turned into a moneymaker if you put it in with a whole bunch of authors in a KU anthology. It seems like a really good deal.
You just got to make sure those people actually read through all the books, or at least skim the pages, so you get credit for them, I guess.
So what I was thinking, that if I had a KU anthology, that I would want to put a ringer at the end. Something that everybody would want to read. I don't know, or at least look at. If you could, best-selling author, something like that, so that, like, in the little blurb at the front of the antho, so that people would just at least skim through to the very end.
All right, cool. Well, let me ask you one more question before we kind of wrap things up. One thing I admire that you've been doing, I know you've been doing your series probably like 3 or 4 years now. I don't know how long it's been. I've seen you around K-boards for quite a while.
Yeah.
I love the way that you've managed to, I think a lot of people will put everything into a launch and they get good sales for a few months, and then they just kind of get tired of marketing it, or they don't know what to do next, and they just disappear off the radar. And it seems like you've really managed to keep your sales consistent month in and month out, and even year in and year out. So do you have any tips for people on kind of like what you're doing, how you keep getting more people into this series?
So, first of all, I don't think that, people are like, Kindles are, people are reading paperbacks, and Kindle reading growth isn't growing, and I think it's BS. I think it's so much BS. I think that a lot more people are coming to electronic media, and I think that those reports are based on traditional publishers. So I think the market is expanding, not constricting. But the big thing is you have to promote, and I kind of put it off to do. I do it at night usually when I'm really tired, or when I'm not. I write best like in the afternoon now, and so I try to write in the afternoon, and then between like doing other things, like in the morning we've started homeschooling my son for various reasons, and so I'll get my tea in the morning, and I'll do like my emails and stuff, and I'll pay any invoices that have come in from book promoters, and then later at night I'll set up my Facebook ads. I'll make the Facebook ads at night after the kids have gone to bed, and in the middle of the day I do my writing. And it's just something like the actual promotion part is it's time consuming, but it's not like high quality time consuming, if you know what I mean. Like, I can do like some of the book promotion, I do it on the weekends when my daughter is constantly running in and out of here, and I can't write because I would become homicidal, and because I can write in 20-minute bursts, even 15 minutes. But when you're interrupted every 5 minutes, I've timed it sometimes, and that's how often it is. It's just, it like destroys your soul. So during those times, I'll open like all of the different advertisers up on a browser, and I'll just go through, and I'll do one book at a time. So I'll have all of those open on one side, and then all of the promo sites on the other, and I just go through the list. And I know some of the people who do this with me. They're like, I'm losing my will to live, because sometimes I'll like con people into helping me out for a month. And but I don't know. Yeah, it's like you just do it.
All right. It sounds like you've got your perma-free book one still. So your main thing is, do you try to like kind of see how many downloads I can get each month from maybe running a few ads, and kind of alternate the sites that you go back to, like
Yes.
after 6 months or something?
Yes, that's what I do. And then I've added Facebook to the mix too, so that gives me another way that I can avoid using sites, so that I can hopefully let them build up their mailing list.
All right. And you talked about doing Facebook to your multi-author box set. Are you also sending them directly to like your perma-free or your own box set?
I am right now. I'm sending them to my permafree. I used to be in advertising I used to do advertising for financials, and free works really well. So I figure, why not? From like BookSense lets you stick an affiliate code onto your. You can stick an affiliate code onto your ad, and I'm wondering if that's legal with Amazon's TOS. Oh, man. Anyway, but it seems like if you get 4,000 clicks, you can make $100 off of affiliate income. And so I'm wondering when I'm going to hit the jackpot with my perma-free. But no, I mean, I do get a little bit of affiliate income from it, not that much, but the sell-through has been pretty good so far. As everybody starts to jump into Facebook, I imagine it'll become a less useful tool, like everything. Or maybe not. I mean, maybe they'll spend a whole lot of money and it won't work and they'll stop. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Some authors are excellent with money, but I think a lot of them are just like kind of throw money at it without really measuring if they're making anything back from their efforts. So that's something to watch out for.
Yeah, I've always watched money, so I used to do Google ads and that sort of thing, and also banner ads, and I always looked at the stats. So yeah. Oh, that is time for my daughter's bedtime.
All right, well, I guess we better let you go then. Last question, do you have any advice for authors? Maybe they're just kind of getting started now and trying to sell some books and get discovered.
Go into KU. It's the easiest. I mean, it's the easiest thing right now to do, and the best way to start out, because even if you're not selling a book a day, you'll probably still be making some money in borrows. And I would also say, don't panic until you get that third book out. And I don't know. I mean, I would say, what the major piece of advice is, you should, before you publish anything, you should have some beta readers, and you should always have a beta reader who makes you cry, and you should have a beta reader who loves your work. And I mean, yeah, get some beta readers. People who throw out books that nobody has ever looked at. You have to get criticism. You have to be able to take criticism. And I mean, yeah, that's the biggest thing that new authors do, is they think that they can just write a book by themselves. And I mean, I'm sure some people do. I'm sure there's somebody who does it, but it doesn't have to be another author. It just has to be somebody who's going to read your book and can offer constructive criticism.
All right, excellent advice, and thank you so much for coming on again and spending another hour with us. You weren't scared away by the last experience, I guess, so that's good.
Thank you. It was fun to be here.
Okay, and what's the name of your first book so everybody can check it out?
Okay, the first book in I Bring the Fire is called Wolves. It's I Bring the Fire Part 1. It's the Loki series. So if you liked Marvel Loki, this is a new take on him. Somebody just compared it to American Gods favorably. So it's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
All right, sounds good. I hope people check it out, and I will also put the links in the show notes for episode 62, marketingsff.com. Come on by, guys. Thanks for listening.
All right, so you guys take it easy.
Bye-bye.